Ever get the feeling like the world's gone a bit mad?
Oh,
Truth
yeah.
is stranger than fiction.
Absolutely.
Well, today
Mm-hmm.
we're diving into a story that proves that point,
Mm-hmm.
about a man who conned an entire nation into believing
Wow.
he was royalty,
Really?
with nothing more than charm and a silver tongue.
I'm intrigued.
Picture this. Germany in the 1920s, still reeling from World War I.
Right.
The economy's in shambles. People are struggling to put food on the table.
Yeah.
There's this sense of disillusionment hanging in the air.
Makes sense.
Enter Harry Domela,
Okay.
a young man who arrives in Germany with practically nothing to his name.
Mm.
But he quickly realizes that in this atmosphere of uncertainty,
Yeah.
a well-told story
Uh-huh.
can be more valuable than gold.
Interesting.
He transforms himself from a penniless nobody
Wow.
into Prince Wilhelm of Prussia,
No way.
captivating high society with his tales and living a life of luxury and privilege.
What's fascinating here is that Damala's story.
Yeah, it isn't just about one man's audacious deception.
Right.
It's a reflection of Germany's fragile state at the time.
Okay.
A society grappling with loss,
Hmm.
yearning for stability, and
Yeah.
perhaps a little too eager to believe in a fairy tale ending.
Right. It makes you wonder
Yeah.
how much of our own perceptions are shaped by what we want to see,
Oh, absolutely.
especially when times are tough.
Definitely.
We're going to explore how Damala pulled off this incredible con,
Okay.
the psychology behind why people believed him,
Mm-hmm.
and what his story ultimately reveals about human nature.
I'm ready.
To set the stage, we need to go back to Germany in the immediate aftermath of World War I.
Huh.
Think November 1918 to August 1919,
Okay.
the turbulent period of the November Revolution.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
this was a time of
Go on.
immense social and political upheaval.
Right?
The German Empire had collapsed,
Wow.
and the country was in the throes of establishing the Weimar Republic.
I see.
There were uprisings.
Power struggles and a deep sense of uncertainty about the future.
Of course.
And as if the political turmoil wasn't enough,
Right.
Germany was also facing a crushing economic crisis.
Okay.
The Treaty of Versailles,
Uh-huh.
signed in 1919,
Right.
had imposed heavy war reparations on the country,
Yeah.
leading to hyperinflation that crippled the economy.
So imagine this. You go to the store to buy a loaf of bread.
Oh.
And it costs a few marks. You go back the next day.
Yeah.
And the price has skyrocketed.
Wow.
People were literally carrying around wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy basic necessities.
It was a truly desperate time for many Germans.
It was.
Their savings were wiped out,
Yeah.
jobs were scarce,
Right.
and the future seemed bleak.
And this is where Harry Damala enters the picture. He
Yeah.
was born in 1904 in what is now Latvia, and even his early life is shrouded in a bit of mystery, likely embellished by his own accounts.
Interesting.
But we do know he joined the Freikorps at the age of 14.
The Freikorps.
These were paramilitary groups that emerged after World War I,
Okay.
often composed of former soldiers who felt disillusioned and displaced.
I see.
Within these groups, there was a certain culture of boasting and storytelling, a sort of romanticization of wartime experiences.
Okay.
And it seems that Damla, even at a young age, was a quick study in the art of embellishing the truth.
So he arrives in Germany in the early 1920s,
Yeah.
practically penniless
Mm-hmm.
and undocumented.
Right?
But he quickly learns that in this chaotic society,
Yeah,
appearances can be everything.
absolutely. There's this anecdote about Damla encountering a self-proclaimed baron
Okay.
who was clearly a con man himself.
Oh, really?
This encounter seems to have sparked an idea in Damla's mind.
What's that?
If this guy could get away with pretending to be nobility,
Uh-huh.
why not me?
And that's where his journey of reinvention begins.
It is.
He starts small, calling himself Baron Korf, and using his charm and quick wit to gain access to social circles he wouldn't otherwise be able to penetrate.
What's interesting is that
Yeah.
Damla wasn't simply motivated by greed or a desire for material wealth.
Okay.
He seemed to have a keen understanding of the social dynamics at play in post-war Germany.
So he was aware of the class disparities,
He was.
the resentment that many ordinary people felt
Mm,
towards the elite who seemed untouched by the suffering of the masses.
exactly.
And he used this awareness to his advantage.
He did.
He would often express outrage at the plight of the poor,
Right.
even while he was conning the wealthy.
It was as if he was playing the role of a compassionate prince.
Mm.
a champion of the people,
Yeah.
even as he was deceiving them all.
One of his early escapades takes him to Heidelberg,
Okay.
where he poses as Prince Levin
Prince Levin.
and infiltrates an aristocratic student group called Saxo Borussia.
This group was a microcosm of the old German elite,
Right.
clinging to traditions and yearning for a return to the glory days of the monarchy.
Yeah.
They were ripe for the picking, so to speak.
And Damala plays them perfectly.
Oh, he does.
He attends their lavish parties,
Mhm.
enjoys the best seats at the opera,
Yeah.
and basks in the attention and adoration of these young aristocrats.
There's a story about Damala passing a soup kitchen for struggling students with one of the Saxo Borussia members.
Oh, really?
The student scoffs at the sight,
Uh-huh.
and Damala, always the performer, launches into a passionate speech about the injustice of their privilege.
It's almost as if he's using his deception as a form of social commentary,
It is.
highlighting the disconnect
Yeah,
between
yeah.
the elite
Yeah.
and the realities of everyday Germans.
But his transformation into Prince Wilhelm of Prussia
Yeah?
happens almost by accident, a case of mistaken identity that he seizes upon with remarkable audacity.
Okay.
He's staying at a hotel in Erfurt when the staff mistakenly believe he's the actual Prince Wilhelm,
Princeville?
who was known to travel incognito.
Wow.
And instead of correcting the error,
Yeah.
Damala embraces the role.
Mm.
He even signs official documents as Prince Wilhelm of Prussia,
Really?
playing the part with such conviction that no one dares to question him.
And this is where things really take off.
Yeah,
Suddenly, he's not just a charming imposter.
right.
He's a symbol of a lost era,
Mm.
a figure who embodies the hopes and dreams of a nation desperate for stability and leadership.
It's incredible. It's almost as if Damala stepped into a role that was waiting for him.
Yeah.
A role that people were eager to believe in no matter how improbable it seemed.
Hmm.
And remember, this was a time when Germany had a certain fascination with figures who challenged authority,
Right.
who exposed the absurdity of the system.
Right, like Wilhelm Voigt,
Exactly.
the captain of Copenhagen.
Ah.
He was a real-life con man who dressed up in a military uniform and managed to pull off a heist by impersonating an officer.
Yeah.
His story became a sensation.
It did.
Even a silent film was made about it in 1926.
That's right.
It's possible that Damala was inspired by Voigt's audacity.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, he had managed to fool everyone with just a uniform and a confident demeanor.
So Damala finds himself living as Prince Wilhelm,
Right.
enjoying all the perks that come with the title,
Yeah.
lavish dinners, invitations to exclusive events,
Wow.
even a personal escort arranged by that bewildered station master who believed his story.
But the real question is,
Yeah.
why did so many people believe him?
Right.
It wasn't just about his charm or his acting skills.
No.
There was a deeper psychological need at play,
There was.
a collective yearning for something to believe in.
Absolutely.
Remember we mentioned the counselor,
Yeah.
that hotel proprietor,
Yeah.
who was utterly convinced Damala was the real deal?
Oh, yeah.
He saw Damala as a symbol of hope for Germany's future,
Mm-hmm.
a potential leader who could restore order and stability.
He even told Damala, many people see in you the future emperor and king. They were projecting their own desires and anxieties onto him,
Right.
hoping that he could somehow fix all that was wrong with Germany.
It's fascinating how Damala, consciously or not,
Yeah.
tapped into this collective longing.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote in his memoir about feeling isolated, grand, raised above all ordinary creeping mortals.
Mm.
It's as if he was both intoxicated by the attention and slightly disgusted by the blind faith of these elites.
And remember, Damala himself came from a background of poverty and hardship.
Right?
He'd seen firsthand the struggles of ordinary people,
Yeah.
the stark contrast between their lives and the world of privilege he now inhabited.
So in a way, his deception becomes a commentary on German society,
Yes.
a sly critique of the elite and their detachment from the realities of everyday life.
He's like a mischievous mirror, reflecting their own desires and delusions back at them,
Right.
exposing the absurdity of their blind faith in titles and appearances.
His story makes you think
Yeah.
about how easily we can be swayed by those who seem to offer us what we crave most, whether it's security, belonging, or a sense of hope in difficult times.
And it reminds us
Yeah.
that those who exploit our vulnerabilities are often those who understand them best.
Hmm.
Damala was a master manipulator,
He was.
but he was also a keen observer of human nature,
Okay.
a student of the anxieties and aspirations of his time.
But, of course, no con can last forever.
Unfortunately not.
Eventually, the cracks begin to show
Mm-hmm.
in Damala's carefully constructed facade.
Rumors about his past deceptions start to circulate.
Right.
He grows weary of the charade, of the constant pressure to maintain his false identity.
Makes sense.
And perhaps he begins to fear that the consequences of being exposed will be far more severe now that he's impersonated a member of the former royal family.
So he decides to make a run for it.
He does.
He plans to flee to France and join the Foreign Legion, hoping to disappear into a new life.
Interesting.
But as he's about to board the train, fate intervenes.
Uh,
He's arrested.
Wow.
His game is up.
Now, you'd think that this is where the story ends.
Right.
The con man is caught,
Yeah.
justice is served,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone learns a valuable lesson about the dangers of deception.
Right.
But that's not quite how it plays out.
Really.
Damala's trial is a spectacle in itself.
Mm.
He faces serious charges, but to everyone's surprise,
Yeah.
the jury acquits him on all counts.
What?
They essentially conclude that while he had taken advantage of people, his actions were mostly harmless.
Can you believe that? This guy impersonates a prince,
Yeah.
deceives countless people,
Right.
and walks away a free man. It seems almost unbelievable.
It's a testament to Damala's charisma,
Okay.
his ability to spin a good yarn,
Yeah.
and perhaps also to a certain sense of sympathy from the jury.
Hmm.
Maybe they saw him as a folk hero,
Right.
a rogue who exposed the gullibility of the elite.
Or maybe they just couldn't resist the sheer audacity of it all.
Whatever the reason, Damala walks free and wastes no time in capitalizing on his notoriety. He writes his memoir, A Sham Prince,
Okay.
which becomes an instant bestseller. It's adapted for the stage and even the screen.
He's like a celebrity criminal reveling in his newfound fame.
He is.
He even sends a bouquet of flowers to Prince Wilhelm's mother, adding insult to injury.
But Damala's moment in the spotlight is fleeting.
Oh.
With the rise of fascism in Germany, he realizes it's no longer safe for him to stay.
I see.
He flees to the Netherlands, then to South America,
Okay.
where he lives out the rest of his days in relative obscurity.
It's a rather ironic ending for a man who once captivated a nation with his audacious performance.
So what does it all mean?
Yeah, what does it all mean?
On the surface, it's a wild tale of deception and social climbing.
Right.
A story that could have been ripped from the pages of a novel.
Okay.
But there's so much more to it than that.
What else is there?
It's a story about the power of illusion, the human need for belief,
Right.
and the ways in which we construct our own realities,
Yeah.
especially in times of crisis.
It's a story that reminds us that history isn't just about dates and battles.
Right.
It's about the stories of real people,
Mm-hmm.
their motivations, their flaws,
Yeah.
and the extraordinary things they sometimes accomplish,
Right.
even if those accomplishments are built on a foundation of lies.
Exactly.
And the fact that Damala's story continues to fascinate us
Right.
nearly a century later
Mm-hmm.
speaks to its enduring relevance.
It does.
It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves,
Yeah.
our susceptibility to deception,
Right.
our longing for simple solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and the ways in which we can be blinded by our own desires.
It's almost like Damala is holding up a funhouse mirror to society,
Yeah.
distorting our perceptions and making us question what we truly value.
And let's be honest, there's a part of us that can't help but admire his sheer audacity.
Of course. There's something undeniably appealing about the rogue who outsmarts the system,
Right.
who exposes hypocrisy and gets away with it, at least for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But Damala's story also serves as a warning.
A warning about.
The dangers of believing too easily, of accepting things at face value without questioning them.
Right.
It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to be critical thinkers,
Yeah.
to look beyond the surface and seek out the truth,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Because, as Damala's story shows us,
Yes,
the line between truth and fiction can be surprisingly thin,
it can.
and the consequences of blurring that line can be far-reaching.
Absolutely.
So, the next time you encounter a story that seems too good to be true,
Okay.
remember Harry Damala?
The Sham Prince.
A Sam Prince who fooled a nation.
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
what's the motivation behind this story?
Okay.
Who benefits from it being believed?
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, what does it reveal about our own desires and vulnerabilities?
That's the power of a deep dive, isn't it?
It is.
We take a seemingly simple story and uncover layers of meaning, historical context, and psychological insights.
Right.
And hopefully we come away a little bit wiser, a little more skeptical, and a lot more curious about the world around us.
I think so.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Harry Damala, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Please do.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating exploration of history, human nature, and all the strange and wonderful things that make us tick.